Hey, it's Central Valley Business. I'm host Steve Walling. My guest for this segment is Gilbert Dowling. Did I get that right, Gilbert?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And we're going to be talking about Gold Rush Merchant Services, which is what?
Gold Rush Merchant Services, anybody that's a small business owner that wants to take credit cards and debit cards for payments, usually what will happen is they can go through their bank to get set up with a merchant processing account.
Right.
We are a direct competitor of the banks.
Okay.
In order to set up a merchant processing account for a small business owner, you have to have an agent bank. Our agent bank is Wells Fargo, which basically when a small business owner wants to take credit cards, they don't have to bank with Wells, but we can't set up a merchant processing account unless we have a bank that's insured by the federal government.
Right.
In this case,
And Wells Fargo, they've been around a week or two, right?
yeah, they've been around a little bit.
They got a little bit of a track record.
Yeah,
All right.
Yep.
So, yeah, small businesses, and oftentimes for a small business, it is a real pain to try and work with their bank.
Yes.
Getting those little electronic devices that you can slide plastic or plug plastic into, and it seems like the banks are always they're changing something, or they're doing this, that, or the other. And if you want to keep your little thingy, you got to fall in line lockstep. So I go through Gold Rush. What's my position with Gold Rush, and how does this work, and what's the benefits for me as a small business?
One of the big things one of the areas that we try to stress in importance to small business owners is how to find the real cost at the end of the month. The common question that I get asked from a small business owner is, what's your rate?
Right.
And I look at them and I tell them, okay, which card are you talking about? Well, Visa, Gil. That's great, man. That's another loaded question. Visa has a rewards card. It's got a business card. It's got a foreign card. Somebody lives in Japan, they get a credit card issued in Japan. They come in our country. That's called a foreign product. The best way for us with the small business owners is to educate them, is to tell the small business owner, take the fees that you were charged for the month, divide it back into your gross dollar of sales, and you'll get a net cost on the account.
Ah, okay.
So your cost so I'll give you an example. We service around 350 businesses in the San Joaquin Valley. I've been in merchant services since 1991. You can Google my first and last name. I have one of the best reputations in the industry. And the reason being that way is simply for the fact that I don't sell credit card equipment. I don't lease equipment. I don't sell credit card equipment. I don't put merchants on contracts. The merchant services business is very ugly. I'm just giving it to you straight, folks.
No, listen, you're talking to the choir, because I was a small businessman at one time, and my relationship with the bank over that little piece of electronic equipment.
Yes, sir.
And they charged me for a new one.
Sure.
And then like 3 months later, they said, this is when the chips were coming out.
It's outdated.
Then they came out and they said, well, that's outdated. Now you need to get a new one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you just enlightened me on something I didn't know even back then, which is Visa. It's not a standard across the board.
It's not.
So there's and I assume that's with other.
The problem is with the credit card industry now is you've got companies like Square. What Dorsey will do is he'll go out, and I'm no fan of Dorsey, who owns Square, the CEO and founder of the company,
right.
But he'll go out with his commercials, and he'll tell the general public, sign up with Square and pay $2.45 and 20 cents a swipe. Well, that's not a real good deal, Mr. Dorsey. It's good for you because the consumers, the small business owners, are clueless about just how much money's in merchant services and what the real costs are from the banks. You've got regulated debit cards that come in under 5 basis points on a transaction. So if you're being charged 2.5% with Square, and I'm charging you less than 5 basis points, most people don't understand math. There's quite a bit of a difference in pricing.
In my favor with what you provide.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is, you talk about chip card technologies in 2015. We probably spent about $33,000 updating merchants' credit card equipment.
Right.
One of the biggest gripes that merchants have on top of their fees, not understanding how the interchange fees are charged at how all that works, is having to pay for credit card equipment. I tell the small business owner, you pay enough in fees every month. Let me give you the terminal for free. You ever cancel my service, you got to give me a call back. I'll pick it up from you. I'll shut the account down.
Gilbert, you're talking about a lot of information. And I know, because like I said, I was a small businessman at one time. I know that my bank never provided me with the type of information that you're just kind of casually throwing out here right now.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's the type of information that would have really benefited me as a small businessman. So
Yes,
a client of yours I'm assuming it's more than just someone calling, say, put in the machine, and we're good to go. Yeah. You actually you sit down with them and kind of inform them, don't you?
What happens is we become the reason banks will allow merchant service companies like ours. Gold Rush is a registered agent of a bigger company called Electronic Payments out of New York, which is where I'm from. I mean, I live here in California now, but EPI has been around about 23 years. We've got a run rate right now of $45 billion a year in credit card processing. That's what our run rate is.
You don't do much business, do you?
I do not too much, not too much. But the big thing is that we're not looking to game our clients. We get paid a residual. The way I make my money in the business is I get paid a residual every month to service the relationship. So when somebody breaks into your checking account and you call my 800 number customer service, they're going to refer you over to me, and I'm going to have to do what's called an account maintenance update on your checking account. Mm-hmm. So we don't just set up credit card terminals, run and gun, and we're done. We actually manage the relationship.
Do you?
So when you had your small business and you said the bank didn't, I agree with you. The banks don't want you to know this stuff. That's why they don't like guys like me.
And you know what? I believe you that my bank didn't want me to know this stuff, because there were times when I questioned my bank specifically, and you know that phrase, the runaround?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I got a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've seen banks take small business owners in the city of Sanger. I've got an account, a big restaurant, and I won't name the bank, but I ended up winning the account over, and this is a restaurant that does 50, 60 grand a month with me every month. Before they went to me, they went to the local bank. And the local manager forged the owner's signature on a bunch of documents for a point-of-sale station. Well, I'd already solicited the owner, and they liked me, but they had already done a deal with the bank. And then after the owner had figured what the bank did by forging the owner's signature, they called me up.
Yeah.
And they said, "Gringo." Okay, no problem. How can I help you? How do we hurt the bank? I said, "This is going to be good."
Yeah.
He said, "What?" I said, "We're going to call the news station."
Oh.
I said, "I live in Madera. This is Sanger, podunk town like Madera."
Yeah.
I said, "We call the local KC30 news station. We get them to come out here and interview you, and then we walk over to the bank and we find that manager. Do you think that manager is going to want to be on national television because the owner called him out for forging a sick?" We ended up having the bank ripped up the contract, and Miguel went to me. His name is Miguel Mendoza or something. Been with me 6-7 years now, and he won't leave because he trusts me. Yeah. He trusts me, and now he's on a program where small business owners, they don't even have to pay the credit card fees anymore, all because of the Durbin Amendment back in 10 or 11. I don't want to go political,
right? But
Durbin is a politician.
Right.
And back in 2010, 2011, there was a ruling called the Durbin Amendment. It really hurt the banks in a good way, which I was glad they got hurt because they were ripping the small business owners. So a lot of positive changes came out of the Durbin Amendment, and one of them was you couldn't, prior to the Durbin Amendment, you couldn't put a sign up saying that if you pay with cash, we'll give you a cash price. If you use debit or credit card, we're going to charge you 3% more.
Right.
That program is completely legal now. And it ended up going through a bunch of lawsuits, but they won on First Amendment rights. I mean, I've got a lot of clients, restaurants mostly. And, a restaurant owner at the end of the day is making 2 to 3 pennies on a dollar after they pay all their expenses.
It's a tight business.
It's not a lot of profit. I mean, it's just not. When consumers go by and they see all these cars, they think these owners are making a fortune. I tell you, you get no idea, man. You ought to see minimum wage, workman's comp, and everything else these folks deal with.
They got to watch. Restaurants are real tight that way, but most any small business has got to watch that bottom line.
Yes, sir.
So every time that they can get ahead and on the financial end, but also get ahead in peace of mind, that's a good thing.
Very good thing.
So I'm excited about this. Someone out there might be excited about this.
All right.
But it doesn't do us a darn bit of good unless we know how to get a hold of you. How do I get a hold of you, Gilbert?
I've got a couple of numbers listed. My office number is going to be area code 559-416-7309. My cell phone number is going to be area code 804-916-0412, or you can go to www.epinocal, so that's EPINOCAL.com, and take a look at us online. We also own Gold Rush Merchant Services, so it's very effective.
And just because I heard you say that you're servicing down in Sanger, even though that you're out of Madera, so I assume that you travel some distances. What is your range of travel?
36,000 miles a year in my Dodge Laramie truck. I'm a road warrior.
Okay,
so the entire state.
no matter where you're at, get a hold. Gilbert's got a deal for you that
sir.
it's a deal that you cannot refuse.
Yes,
Thanks
sir.
for being with us.
Thank you,
Gilbert.
sir. Appreciate it.
That's awesome service you're providing.
Thank you.
I'll see you when we come back.